Good evening. My name is Ryan Bailey, and this evening I'll be discussing managing customer relationships, specifically in relation to the telecommunications industry. Now, a relationship can be defined as the interaction between the customer and the service provider in question. Now, this can either be from a positive or negative aspect, depending on the situation. The goals of relationship marketing are basically categorized into several subheadings. The first of which being benefits for customers. So, in relation to the telecommunications industry, there are several different service providers, each offering competitive and enticing deals. To stay with your current service provider, customers will generally have an expectation that they will receive on par, if not better, quality of service. And exceeding their expectations on a general day-to-day basis. The second subheading being confidence benefit. This is basically a feeling of trust and assurance from their current service provider. So as a generalization, they know what to expect from their current service provider. There's no sort of hidden surprises. The third one being social benefit. So this is sort of something that's developed over a period of time. So the customer has been with the firm for a while, they're happy with the service and products that they receive from that particular firm, and they now become almost an advocate of the brand. So in relation to the service provider, this is more so a benefit for them as they're receiving word of mouth and ongoing support from the customer in social situations. So they may be discussing with their friends the particular service provider, the benefits, etc., which can lead to new customer queries and acquisitions. The fourth being special treatment benefits. Now, this is not so much a concern to customers as studies have shown, but basically what this is customers receiving enticements for being with their particular service provider. So this can be in relation to receiving an incentive, which may be if the customer has stayed with the service provider for 12 months, they might receive a discount off their bill, or if a bill is late, they might waiver the penalty fee for an ongoing existing customer, and so on and so forth. The next is benefits for firms. So in relationship to firms, it's basically maintaining and establishing a solid customer base that has a positive perspective of the business. So this is where firms are basically building relationships to ensure that the customer has a positive experience and therefore continues to be an advocate. Next is economic benefits. So economic benefits are basically financial benefits to the firm. So from maintaining a customer in a positive respect can lead to ongoing purchases, ongoing services, and again, touching back on social benefit with general word of mouth, customers can basically become brand advocates. So they'll be discussing with their friends, which will lead to potential sales, which in turn will increase profit and revenue. So this is looked on in a positive light. Customer behavioural benefits being next. This is basically where the customer becomes an advocate, so it's realistically touching back on what I've discussed before, but in that respect, it's where a customer feels a certain obligation to the firm. So they have this perspective of the firm that they feel that they need to share with their family and friends and colleagues, etc. Now, this is generally, as I said, a positive benefit because this will lead to further sales, etc. And obviously creating new customer relationships with potential leads. Now, finally, we have human resource management benefits. So once a customer is established and they've been with the firm for a reasonable amount of time, They generally know the ins and outs of how the service provider operates. They know how their particular product works, and they can generally provide excellent feedback to the firm in relation to either improving upon or establishing new ideas, etc. So it can be an excellent tool for human resource management. Now, in relation to the telecommunications industry, I would now like to touch on relationship management cycle. So this is basically deriving what we've discussed previously and putting it into 5 basic steps which are taken by firms, and it's in the development process of a customer. So number 1 being reach. Now, reach is basically touching base with new customers. So this is the marketing aspect of the cycle. This is where the firm has the opportunity to touch base with customers who are unfamiliar with their products or services and provide some sort of general interest. Acquisition is basically the customer is enticed by what they have seen in the reach process, and they would like to consider or possibly take up the firm's products or services. Now, basically this part of the cycle has been derived based off price and product offerings, as there is no obvious development with the customer, as they're obviously a new customer. The third step in the cycle is, of course, development. So this is ongoing service provided to that particular customer. Now, this can be in the form of touching base with the customer, ensuring that their service is operating correctly, notifying the customer of new deals or incentives that they may be able to or may be eligible for, and just generally maintaining a positive experience for the customer. Now, retention. Retention is basically what the firm needs to do to retain a particular customer if they have seen that there is a better deal with another service provider, or if they're unhappy with their current service, they feel that they're not receiving the best value product. This is the opportunity for the firm to basically re-establish that positive connection with the customer, be it through providing another service, be it through providing an incentive or enticement to stay with their service provider. Now, this will lead on to advocacy. Now, advocacy being where a customer is happy with the product, they understand the product, and they're willing to share this with their family, friends, and colleagues, etc. So this can lead to new business and thus restarts the cycle. Now, customer relationship progression basically follows the cycle that we've just discussed in a different mannerism. So, customers are strangers. Customers, basically, when they're first established, they're unfamiliar with the products and services. They've been enticed by the firm to have a look. They may have taken up the service, and they're relatively new to the business. Customers as acquaintances are basically customers who are now familiar with their products and services, happy with the service that they're receiving, and generally will provide some minimal feedback. Customers as friends, so customers as friends are basically advocates of the business. So they're completely happy with the service and products that they've received. They're happy with ongoing service and support that they're getting from the firm, and they're general good advocates of the firm. And customers as partners, the customer becomes invested within the firm. So this can be through touching back to human resource management benefits. This is the customer making positive contributions to the company and offering different ideas, perspectives, and just general, a general positive perspective on the company through providing new ideas. Now, the battle for business. So we're basically now focusing on the telecommunications industry and how this relates to services. Basically, within the current market, there's several service providers all offering fantastic and aggressive deals. Basically, each of them has established a positive customer basis, and they understand the customer relationship management cycle, so they understand that word of mouth, positivity, and ongoing customer loyalty is absolutely crucial to their business. Most service providers understand that the customer is their key focus, and they need to focus on providing the best quality service as well as the best quality experience possible. The key focus of these service providers is customer retention. So they have an established customer base and they want to stay the predominant leader in that particular field. They want to retain their customers, they want to entice new customers as well. So customer retention is basically providing the best deal possible, making sure that the particular customer feels valued within that particular market segment, and ensuring that they're providing them with every means possible to maintain their business with that particular firm. Now, approximately a year to 2 years ago, Vodafone came out with an extremely aggressive deal. $45 a month, which included unlimited calls and texts. Now, at this sort of price point, it was absolutely unheard of. At the time, Telstra and Optus unlimited plans were in excess of $100 per month. So for Vodafone to come out with an aggressive deal like this really attracted the customer from Telstra and Optus. They noticed the price point, they were wondering why their current service provider was offering such a substantially higher price point. Now, this basically, touching back to the relationship development cycle, they reached the customers. They understood their market segment, they knew who they were attacking, they were basically going straight out there, attempting to move Optus and Telstra customers and turn them into Vodafone customers. Now, through this aggressive price point, they managed to do so. They acquired the business from Telstra and Optus. Many customers signed up to this particular plan at $45 a month, unlimited. Now, unfortunately for these customers, this is basically where the service ended. So the development stage, Vodafone had now acquired the business. They didn't know what to do with it. They spent no time, no money, and no effort in developing a customer relationship. Many disgruntled customers later, many issues later, and still ongoing. Through this, they failed to retain customers. Customers were extremely dissatisfied with the service that they received. They were extremely disappointed with the over-promise, under-deliver, and as a general rule of thumb, left that particular service provider. As you can guess, there were no advocates. Vodafone dubbed Vodafail by many customers. There's extremely negative light placed on Vodafone at this point in time, and there were some extremely tarnished customer relationships. This has now led into a class action suit against the company for millions of dollars in losses. Now, this has been undertaken by an Australian legal firm and is an ongoing issue currently in 2014. So this is a prime example of when a firm has an aggressive price point and they focus on one type of marketing, which is transactional marketing. This is where they've provided an extremely low cost, they've enticed the customers, but they're not looking at the big picture. They've failed to address key issues for the customer, being retention, being an established or a developed relationship with that particular firm, and they lost advocates. To this day, Vodafone is losing thousands upon thousands of customers a month. Recent statistics show that they lost approximately $250 million in revenue, which is a substantial amount. Now, under relationship challenges targeting Vodafone specifically, we can see incorrect segment marketing. So what I mean by this is that Vodafone went out in terms of transactional marketing, acquired lots and lots of customers that were primarily focused on price point as opposed to ensuring that they had established relationships. The issue with doing it in this particular manner is it's not profitable in the long run. As seen, obviously Vodafone is on a steep decline, probably won't be in the country in probably a very few amount of years. It's not an economical way to run a business in that sense. They would have been better off offering a less aggressive price point and focusing on general service. Challenging customers to Vodafone without providing excellent service in the first place. This was bound to be an issue. So customers were fed up with the poor service that they received. They weren't getting a good product. The product quality was extremely poor quality, and thus led into customers wanting to get out of the relationship. They did not desire to be in a relationship with Vodafone. They wanted to leave and get back to other service providers. Now, in this sense, the relationship would end. So Vodafone, having lost all of their customers, gone across to another service provider, will now have an extremely difficult time rebuilding that rapport. It really diverts back to following those 5 key steps in the relationship management cycle. If Vodafone had followed this more closely, they wouldn't have the issues that they do today. And it's still on the steep decline. They have done a lot of network upgrades. They have also focused more on the customer, providing new deals and excellent deals. And the service is improving. They're developing on their Tasmanian call centre, so you can speak to an Australian when you call them. But it's an extremely difficult thing at the end of a relationship where you have tarnished it so deeply that the customers are not willing to consider you as a service provider again. And it shows in the statistics. Telstra is the predominant service provider, now accounting for more than 50% of the market. So they really are a monopoly. That concludes my speech this evening. I hope I have provided some excellent insight to you. Please check below in the comments for the referencing.